Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ended up doing a couple Ordo missions and we're gonna finish off the last one we have here, which shouldn't be that bad. Should we? Yeah, we'll modify it, why not? Yeah, that'll be fine. So I saw today that Sony released another trailer for the Twisted Metal show. And I mean, I wasn't too excited because I saw the initial trailer they did and it didn't look good. But it somehow, now it doesn't look bad because it looks decent. It's probably a lot of CG for background stuff. But it just doesn't feel like Twisted Metal. Because like they have Anthony Mackie's character delivering a package of unknown something. But it's post-apocalyptic. And he has to drive through Vegas, which is currently controlled by Sweet Tooth. And I'm just sitting here the whole time as I watched it going, this isn't Twisted Metal. This is more Mad Max. Because the whole point of Twisted Metal was it was a bunch of contestants who were entering a competition with, I can't remember if it's exactly, I don't think it's the devil per se. It's either the devil or at least someone who has demonic capabilities, and they're essentially a wish granter. And their whole thing was, hey, you compete in my tournament. If you win, I will fulfill whatever wish you want. And I can see them, the container that Mackie has to deliver, being some, like, suitcase full of souls kind of vibe, but not actually a suitcase. But at the same time, I could see them just not doing that at all and still leaning into, I don't want to say a grounded reality, but more grounded. But it's just kind of disappointing, because the whole point of Twisted Metal was the tournament. It'd be like making a Mortal Kombat show or Mortal Kombat movie, but they never enter the tournament. And it's just like, oh, watch Kung Lao go get groceries. It's like, okay, that's not really it. Oh, check it out, Johnny Cage is gonna fight some muggers. Like, no. If you have an IP that revolves around a tournament, you have to do it around the tournament. Because that's kind of the whole draw. And that can be said about anything. If you had, instead of The Last of Us actually being fairly accurate to the games, if they spent half the season just going over Joel's life pre-apocalypse, it'd be boring. Because at the end of the day, none of it's relevant. Yes, it is to a degree world building, but most of the world building is just, hey, this is normal life, which is stuff nobody cares about. I don't know, just stuff like that worries me. I also saw, this one was a big disappointment for me. And this is very specific, so some of you may not even recognize it, but Lil Uzi Vert, I know that's a hell of a start, but he released one of the songs from his new album. I don't even care about the album, but it was called CS. And what it is it is a cover of Chop Suey by System of a Down. Which for me, one, I love the Toxicity album. I remember listening to System of a Down back playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion on the 360. Just sitting there vibing, listening to Chop Suey. I think Shimmy was on that album. A bunch of good songs. That whole album was phenomenal, and they struggled to kind of not really recover, but make an album after, like their album that came after. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Steal This Record or what it was, but it did not compare, even though a bunch of songs were, to my knowledge, songs that were cut from Toxicity. It's still just, people don't remember it. But Lil Uzi Vert doing a cover of Chop Suey, and it just, every artist has to do their own thing. I get that. I respect it. But that song requires a certain amount of emphasis, and you have to have a certain spirit when you're going into it. Like when Surge starts off saying wake up, you don't just be like wake up, you have to more or less yell it. You gotta be just throwing yourself into that song. And Uzi just kinda wake up. It just, the most monotone whole bit. The whole song, he's just monotone, and I'm just sitting here going, why? I sent it to a friend of mine who's a big System fan, and he goes, I couldn't get more than like 20 seconds into the song. I said, yeah, it only gets worse. Which is sad. Because I don't think when people cover songs, they intend to do a bad job. They'd be insane. But you kind of have to go in the same spirit. You can, I will say this, you can go in a big departure, or at least a sizable departure from the original. Great examples are like House of the Rising Sun by Five Finger Death Punch, or Land of Confusion by Disturbed. People don't really expect or suspect that Land of Confusion was originally a song by Phil Collins, the guy who did parts of the soundtrack for Tarzan, the Disney movie. But, you know, you can go a different direction, but you have to keep a certain spirit about it. And I just think rap artists put themselves behind the 8 ball because of the lyrical style they have. A lot of rap music relies on speed or lyrical wit. It's less about vocalization. You can be fairly monotone. You don't have to have pitch effectively. You can't really do rock or metal and be tone deaf. But you sure can with rap. Granted, there are people who step outside that. At least the tone deaf part. Prime example I use is like Tech 9. When it comes to the actual music, his music, he does a lot of interesting stuff. but you don't see that very often. I just wish that song was better. Because I haven't heard a lot of covers of System of a Down songs, and especially like Chop Suey. I swear I've heard a cover, but if memory serves, it was also pretty bad. Because I think a big part is, like many things, there is a line. You gotta be into the song, but you can't be overly into it. Like, you can't sit here and death metal growl the song, because you just sound like an idiot. And I swear that's... If my memory is right, that is what I heard for another cover of it, was more or less a death metal growl version, and I was equally disappointed then. But it also could be just, there are some songs you really cannot emulate because they're so entrenched within the band's own style. Okay. Well, let's do... Should we do... I don't know if I want to do a random assignment or intel. We'll do intel. Oh, actually I have one. Because intel's fun. But I also need to drop stuff off because I saw another Inferno shard. Man, we're making good progress on filling those out. Unfortunately, I just don't have anything with slots. So I'm just kind of stuck here going, well, one day it'll happen. We're not going to monkey with anything else. I already don't like that 77% damage suffered bonus. Oh, this is a VIP rescue, a panic room. I didn't even pay attention to what mission this was. I was just like, okay, let's just knock this out. Kind of weird knowing from now on I can just skip making all of the, or doing all of the campaign stuff for new characters. But it is nice because while you guys watch this stuff, it's also stuff we've seen 4 or 5 times at this rate. The class doesn't change what happens. The interactions are more or less the same. And being able to just pick a morality rank and just be like, yep, we're Puritan, we're not fanatic, not heretic. You know, I can just look radical. You know, we can be Puritan, we can be radical, we can be whatever, and I don't have to sit here and hunt down every morality choice and forget halfway through which morality I'm going for and all that. I saw recently, I'm just thinking about 40K. For some reason, I've been finding videos lately of people who they use, I think it's Joy Toy. They're a company that's been making larger, they're more or less like 40K action figures, but they're unpainted so that you can paint whatever chapter you want. And I've been seeing some really cool ones, like one where it's a... God, what is it? It's a space marine with a plasma gun, and then there's a Tyranid one, and they positioned the stuff and like drilled a hole through the Tyranid so that it's a solid like plastic beam going from the plasma gun through the Tyranid, and then through using like LEDs or something, it lights up. It was really cool. I always like stuff like that. It's really creative. But it just reminded me of that. What I wouldn't give for an ability to destroy barrels. It'd be nice if everybody got something that allowed them to target the ground effectively. Really? The VIP just... Good to see they never fixed the AI in this game. I really, really hate that when you can have, like, fire, and the AI is just like, oh, I'm burning to death. This is an unfortunate way to go. And the fact that my stupid Healy turret will target only... It'll target my summons, but will not target allies. It's like, why not? Just zap them and heal them. Why are you not bothering with anyone else? This is the kind of stuff that I see as reasons for making a sequel. Just to hopefully rectify these really bad design choices that seem to still plague this game. Stuff like that, or those pursue missions that are so incredibly rare that every time I find them, I forget how they function. Because they just never show up. And I get to a degree, you don't want your enemies or any NPC to instantly step out of any damage field, because that renders AoEs worthless. I completely understand that. I've dealt with games that do just that. And AoEs are more or less, or at least lingering AoEs, are zoning only. Because the second it happens in Destiny. You throw like a solar grenade or something, and they will never stand in it. You either have to direct impact them, or they'll just jump out and not step in the area until it's gone. But I think there is a good and healthy line where if they take a certain amount of damage, you just have them backtrack and go, oh, I need to get out of here. Instead of just being like, nah, this is where I'm just gonna stand here and burn to death. That's what I'll do. Oh well, at least it was just an intel. Not like I don't have enough intel things to run another if I really feel like it. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.